In a world where Microsoft virtualization is still considered to be the underdog by some, the Hyper-V Amigos enlighten the IT crowds on how they could very well be mistaken.
Yeah, hello Didier again.
Hello, Carsten.
My Hyper-V Amigo friend. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, and how are you?
I'm very fine now. I had a little sport thing going on some minutes ago, and if I look a little bit tired, it's not only looking, it's being. I saw you have prepared your USA flag already, but you showed me you're not only a US fan, you are also
Oh, I don't pick sides. I also have the Union Jack here. Also
okay,
have
cool.
an MVP bottle for
I can.
data center in a box.
Yes, you have the I Believe in Hyper-V t-shirt now. Show it. Nice one. And I have another new one. We had our community event 1 week ago, and I did a nice private versus public cloud battle against my MVP wife, and I lost.
Oh, how diplomatic of you.
Yeah, of course. No, I really lost. I wanted to win, but she was better. So, but it's not. This is not. I think the things we want to talk about. We had some great feedback about our first show. Actually, we have about 400 views on YouTube, and that's not really bad for a new thing. And there will be more views, I think. And we have some demanding, I would say, some demanding people out there who wants to see another episode, right?
Yes, indeed. It kind of took me by surprise because at a given moment it was like, "Hey, when's the next episode coming? When's the next episode coming? It's great, it's great." And then when I tweeted about preparing for this one, it was like, "What are you waiting for? Get going!" I was like, "Okay, take it easy.
But
It's coming."
yeah, but we have to tell the people we must find the time to do that because we are both very busy, and now we are sitting here on a Sunday and doing the Hyper-V Amigo thing, right?
Yes, we are.
So, without further ado, we want to show some things. This should be a showcast and not a talk cast or or some Skype cast. And Didier, what do we want to show in the second episode?
Well, I want to show the behavior of Unmap in Windows Server 2012, Windows 2012 R2. I have some slides from a presentation that I do or give. I have a lab set up with a SAN. I have some feedback on things that you have to take into consideration. Whilst doing Unmap, you'll also see some of the benefits of ODX, and we'll just show you how it behaves. We'll experiment a bit together. So it's like you are here in the room, but I'm doing the clicking and you are doing the deduction of, hey, what's going on here, right? That's basically.
We will do that. But before that, what is actually Unmap? Not everybody out there knows what Unmap is. And where is the problem with SAN storage, or where is it useful for, Didier?
Oh, well, Trim and Unmap have their, let's say, their roots in SSD technology because they needed it to make the longevity of the SSD disks work. But in a SAN, it has some other benefits than just longevity. Basically, if you have an operating system and a hypervisor that knows about Unmap, that knows about tin provisioning, you can have them talk to each other. So the SAN can tell the OS, look, this thinly provisioned LUN you have here, I'm going to run out of space to give it more disk space, so you need to do something. So the SAN can warn you that it's going to run into trouble. What the operating system can do for the SAN is optimize the storage use. Because if you look at, let's say, an older operating system like Windows 2008 or even older, Windows 2008 R2, what normally happens is people ask for a LAN and they say, look, we need 500 gigs of LAN space.
Yeah.
And probably they're exaggerating a bit because they want to have a safety margin. And by the time it gets to you, the storage admin or the system admin, you think like, I'd better take a safety margin as well, and then I need 15% for optimizing performance. So before you know it, that LAN is 50% weight oversized. And if the LAN needs to grow, well, you have some extra space there, so that's fine. But more often than not, probably it will never grow. And then you are wasting a lot of space. You're losing space. So Unmap, in combination with a SAN, or even if you don't have one, with storage spaces, because that also supports Unmap, or even on ordinary hardware that doesn't support it, you have efficiencies both on the VHDX and on the physical storage layer. So what it can do for you is make sure that you waste as little space as possible.
Mm-hmm.
This comes at a bit of a cost sometimes because the Unmap actions have to take place, and then you might notice some delays or stalling of your actions. But as long as you know what you're doing and you manage it well, for ordinary virtualization environments, it should not make a difference. But we'll give you one really nice example of where things can go wrong, because basically it went wrong with us. So it's from experience that we'll show you what you need to take care of.
Yeah, as I know Unmap, I first recognized it or got in contact with it when we installed our NetApp, our SAN storage. We in the past we had a NetApp. It's still here, but it's turned off. We are now heavily invested in storage spaces, and before 2012, Windows Server 2012, you have to install a driver. This I didn't remember the name. It's something about a Snapdrive, driver, and he is doing the Unmap thing, because when you delete something in the operating system and the Windows Server 2008 R2, the underlying storage system didn't get the information that these blocks are not used anymore. So the storage system, there is only growth. New blocks are allocated, but the storage system will never know that the operating system don't use the blocks anymore, and that the storage system now can use them for new operations. And
absolutely.
And there was a driver, and I only know NetApp in the past, and there you have to install a driver. And now with 2012 and newer operating systems, this Unmap is supported from the operating system, this Unmap operation, to the storage system. I think it's a SCSI command. It's in the SCSI protocol, or SCSE. How you call it SCSI?
It's in this SCSI. Yeah, that's
SCSI. Okay.
Yeah, but it's in the slides if you want to reference, or I'll just post a URL to some background information. But it's true. There were various ways of getting the information to a thinly provisioned SAN in the older operating systems.
Yeah.
So one is installing an agent, a driver. Some people used sdelete, because you had to zero out the disk to tell the SAN, hey, you can reuse them.
Okay.
But the drawbacks of sdelete, it's quite resource intensive. It takes a long time. You could, of course, script it out, but sdelete, when you use that, you have the tendency to use up all the free space on your LAN, and then all the alarms bells start ringing on SCUM. Hey, you're running out of disk space. All kind of that kind of fun. You could also write scripts yourself with PowerShell, or if you're a programmer, C# or whatever your preferred language is to take care of it. But you had to actively do it. Or you could even use defragmentation software. That could also do that for you.
Okay.
But you always needed something extra. Either it was homegrown, it was a script using sdelete, your own code, it was some bought defragmentation software, or it was the agent from the vendor, but you had to do something. I do believe that there are some SANs that can do it natively for you, but I'm not really sure with what operating systems they are talking about. So for me, until 2012, I was on the impression that you had to do something somehow to make the SAN know about what the operating system had done to the data on the LAN.
And now, from 2012, starting with 2012, it's built in the operating system, so that the operating system can inform the SAN system that these blocks are not used anymore, and it can reuse it. I think that's the most advantage of Unmap.
Yeah. Well, no, there's actually two. That's on the storage layer, which is quite important because you're not going to waste space on your SAN.
Yeah.
But there are also other optimizations. Let's say you have a dynamically expanding VHDX, and you write data to it,
Yeah.
and you delete the data. When the data is deleted, the VHDX blocks are, by the unmap command, make sure that the VHDX blocks are ready for use.
Okay.
So when you copy new data in there, you'll see that the disk doesn't have to expand as much.
Okay.
Because it's reusing the blocks.
Of course.
And I have demos about that with VHD versus VHDX
Okay.
to show you how it behaves very differently.
So it's also supported in a virtual machine if you use a VHDX.
Yeah.
And is it depending on attaching the VHDX on the SCSI controller, or is it also working with an IDE controller?
There is some confusion about that because initially the documentation said it only works with SCSI or pass-through disks, but it works on IDE.
Yeah.
So, and I especially created my demo virtual machine as a generation 1 because I have a demonstration with an IDE controller in there.
So without further ado, I think we skip over to the demonstration, and you will show us your screen, and we will talk about what we are seeing there.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, Didier, I have to shift my head a little bit to see what's going on.
Just let me know if you can see my screen.
I can see your screen very well.
Okay.
And you are recording the screen, I know.
I'm recording the screen.
Okay.
So what you're looking at here is a virtual machine. And on this virtual machine has lots of disks. And the name of the disk will give away what they are used for. So you have VHD that are fixed, VHDXs that are fixed, you have VHDs that are dynamically expanding. Then you have a disk that contains multiple volumes because that's a very nice way of demonstrating some behavior. And last but not least, we have a dynamic VHDX attached to an IDE controller just to prove that it also works with IDE, right? And if you look on the host, you can see the exactly the same names actually of the disks in the VM, but these are the VHD files, right? So these are your virtual disks here.
Okay, you map in the virtual machine, you are mapping the VHDX files to the volumes. Okay.
Yep, that's basically what we're doing. In the virtual machine, I have some scripts prepared to copy the source files. The source files are basically ISO files, and I will copy these into these various types of virtual disks to show you the behavior.
And I think the name is how large they are.
The name is how large they are if they are the fixed ones, and then how large are.
I mean the files on the right side.
Yeah, indeed,
okay.
indeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't copy all of them always, just to make sure that we don't lose too much time on copying data.
Okay.
But to make sure that we see the efficiencies of what Unmap can do for you, we have some scripts, and one of the scripts is actually some PowerShell against the SAN. And basically what this does is an Unmap demo against a compellent. And we have a LAN on the SAN, and that's the LAN we use here to host our virtual machine. And as you can see, it's 10.5 terabytes big. It's a thinly provisioned LAN, and it only contains 59 gigabytes of data. Basically, that's the operating system of the demo virtual machine. With the source files, well, they take up some space as well. So basically, we have 59 gigabytes on a 10.5 terabyte virtual machine. So this is a thinly provisioned LAN on your SAN. You can create it as big as you want, and this is the only real space you're consuming.
Okay, nice.
Okay, so we just have the script running because we want to show you the effects of Unmap, what's going on yours on the storage side, and then we have another script that's going to monitor the size of the VHDs on the host.
Okay.
Right. So normally this should be more or less the same. So it says 50 gigs here. Yeah, it's about 50 gigs. So basically, that's what this is doing. And this is important to keep an eye on whilst we're doing all the copying inside of the virtual machine.
Okay.
And I'll also address some of the things you need to be aware of, because you might not be getting the expected behavior because you haven't figured something out yet when you start out using Unmap on a SAN. And I'll get back to that after we've done some demos.
I'm looking forward to that.
Okay. So
So
these are my
Didier,
disks.
go on. The demo is yours.
Let's start with the first one. Let's start with the demo scripts. What are we going to show you first? Let's do a fixed one first, or something like that. Or is it even worthwhile doing a fixed one? Yes. Why not? Why not? Let's do a fixed one first.
Do a fixed one.
But,
Why not?
but I don't think I have a script for the fixed ones.
Oh, Didier.
So that's not bad. We'll just take some files,
Yeah,
copy.
these are 5 gigabytes of data.
Yeah, let's paste it into a VHD that has a fixed VHD file.
Okay.
Right? So there we go. We're copying data. As you can see, we're getting pretty decent speeds here.
And the space actually used is growing. Now it's
growing.
64 gigabytes.
Yes.
And
Interesting.
You copied 5 gigabytes, I think. It's
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
files with 1 gigabyte. Okay.
5. So that's what you see on the SAN. Of course, on the VHD file, you don't see any growth because it's a fixed size one.
Yeah, it's
It will
already
always report-
provisioned
it
with the
will-
size.
Yeah.
I think
But-
what we saw is an expected behavior. The
This
disk is
is
growing, yeah?
This is very expected behavior, and to prove that there is not much difference in this regards between the two types, as you can see, the SAN is consuming a bit more space.
I think the speed is also very nice, 730
yes,
megabytes.
Yes, it's very nice inside of a virtual machine, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of funky. It's kind of funky.
Maybe there is more about that later on in another show.
We'll get back to that speed. Yes, we'll get back to that speed. So what we've done now is we've copied files into a fixed VHD and a fixed VHDX, and we've seen the space consumed on that thinly provisioned LUN on the SAN grow, and of course the size of the files itself doesn't change. So let's delete some data. So let's just say shift delete. It's very important.
Yeah, you don't want to move it to the recycle bin, yeah?
No, otherwise it's still there, of course. So we've shift deleted it, and now we're gonna try and do something.
But now, wait.
Yeah.
You deleted it, and nothing happened so far. This is also
No.
expected.
Oh, well, wait a minute. I
Huh?
think something happened already. Look at
Okay.
this.
Where you are?
It was at 69, I think. Now it's at 64.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
But the
I
thing is,
see.
of course, Windows will run optimizations
Okay.
in a scheduler when you do a disk analyzation or a format, or if you do a defragmentation. But the
Yeah.
point is, you don't control this. This is a background process.
Okay.
And for the demo purpose, it's kind of annoying to have to wait for Windows to kick in
So
when it wants.
you did something in the scripts.
No, not yet. This was just pure luck. But
Oh, okay.
But we have a command. Basically, it's optimize volume, and I've put all the drive letters I use in here.
Okay. Oh, of course.
And if I run it, it will just do the retrim for us. Okay. So
Okay.
I can run it now, but let's just run it. We'll run this a lot of times during this demo.
Okay.
But it's working. It's retrimming. But okay. Basically, it's run.
And
Uh,
nothing
the
changed really, huh?
No, but it had already changed before we
Yeah.
could run it.
But
But-
only one 5 gigabytes are missing now. Where are these 5 gigabytes missing, Didier?
Well, the 5 gigabytes that we have recuperated were the ones we copied into the VHDX and
Okay,
the ones
yeah.
into the VHD.
I thought that. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
why
it
not the
doesn't-
VHD?
Well, why do you think it doesn't support Unmap? It's only VHDX. So
Okay.
let's do another little test.
I'd do it.
Let's do another little test. Let's see what happens here. Demo scripts. Let's use the dynamically expanding disks, right? Let's do
Yeah.
the VHD.
So this is the blue one, huh? The
Yeah.
first blue one, I think.
Yeah.
Where we have now 7.9. Now we
What
have
do you
a
notice here? What do
gigabyte.
you notice here? What do you notice
It's
here?
slow.
It's very slow.
Yeah, it's
Well,
slow.
it's very slow compared to what we just saw, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, it is.
Well, basically what you are seeing here is uh, a dynamically expanding VHD, and it was as small as it could be.
Okay.
It was just formatted with a volume. So what it's doing now, it's copying 5 or 4 gigs in there, and it's continuously expanding, right?
Yeah.
And actually, if you compare the VHD versus the VHDX, that's where you will see the big surprise.
Yeah, maybe you start it. You can do it, both of
I,
them,
I,
or?
I can do both of them.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I was wondering whether you had the patience to watch the entire.
I have the patience, but we want to show a lot of things, so maybe
Okay. So
our
here we.
watchers,
So so this is the dynamically
viewers, not
expanding
watchers.
VHDX.
Oh, that's
Look at
nice.
this.
Oh, that's nice.
This is the performance difference between a VHD and a
And a
VHDX
VHDX.
that's dynamically expanding, and we're doing exactly the same operation.
That's
So
cool.
that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I always like this demo. It's like, whoa, is there really such a big difference between a dynamically expanding VHD and a VHDX? I would say there is.
Yeah.
This is one of the first
It looks
tests
like,
that
yeah?
made me think like perhaps I need to reconsider using dynamic VHD
Yeah.
X's.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the performance difference is most certainly there. Because, whilst this one is almost finished, the other one is still going, and frankly, we might even consider killing it if we don't want to wait for it. We've proven our point, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It will be
And
at least
please watch.
more 8 minutes, huh?
Yeah, but let's have it run until we're done talking here. Well, because we're copying data, we are seeing growth in the amount of space we consume on the SAN.
Yeah.
And over here, the dynamically expanding VHD. Look, it's blinking a bit because it's refreshing all of the time. But you can see that, well, we've already copied 30 gigs of data into the dynamically expanding VHDX. And the other one is still copying and almost has copied 8 gigabits.
Bytes.
Gigabytes. So perhaps we know enough.
Yeah.
I think we know enough.
Yes.
Okay.
Kill it.
So
Kill it.
who likes dynamic VHDX?
Me, of course.
Okay. Okay. Let's kill this because we're sick and tired of waiting for it. So let's play another game. So let's take a look here. It's 102.8 gigabytes. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to the dynamically expanding. Let's delete the files here. Shift delete again. Okay.
Yeah.
Shift delete. Let's go to this one and do also shift delete. There we go. Now we can play the waiting game.
Yeah.
Or we can, of course, help.
Yeah, there is
help a bit.
There is a question in mind. When you don't force the optimized volume, yeah, it's gone already. Have you some experience how long it normally takes, or how often it is done, the optimized volume in the background?
Well, you have the optimizer that I'll quickly show it here. If you go to Tools, Defragmentation, Optimized Drives, as you can see here, yeah, I've created this little script to be on top all of the time.
Oh, nice.
You see the thinly provisioned LUN, as you can see, is identified also by Windows as a thin provisioned drive. So this is something you didn't have in previous operating system versions. Cool. And it has a schedule that's weekly to run.
Okay.
But there is a background process that will kick in, and it doesn't take that long. But in general, you shouldn't worry about it. Just let Windows and your SAN take care of things.
Okay.
If you are doing demos, you might want to force it in the interest of time. but in a realistic environment, you don't want to force it. You just want to let it do what it needs to do. And you need to be aware sometimes that when it's running, you will have a little performance impact.
Of course.
So if you start doing funky things like, let's say, you want to delete a checkpoint on a virtual machine, and normally you are used to your ODX speeds with a VHDX merge, right? And at the same time, an Unmap is running. Well, then you might lose that ODX speed because those two processes aren't exactly happy that they are running at the same time. But that happens.
Of course.
Normally, you will. I only see it if I really do the demos and the lab work to find out what's really happening. In real life, chances are nobody will ever notice.
Okay.
Now, some SANs are a bit better or faster at those operations than others. Some have specialized ASIC processors to handle the workload. Some just use, let's say, commodity processors, and they have to work a little bit harder. So some vendors will say, "Oh, we're way better than the other one because we can mitigate that issue." But in reality, you have to look at your real needs, because there's no use buying a Formula One car when you only need a good van to get the work done.
Yeah, and I have to say, you have a Formula One car. We compared some numbers about ODX in our little community, and I think the compound numbers were really great, weren't they?
They are great, but if you look at Unmap, I could say that some other SANs have a bit of a performance edge in that field.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter that much as long as you have the cycles.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a bit like, look, I can fly 200 miles an hour, but actually I only ever need 5 miles an hour, so who cares?
Yeah.
Whether you can go to 100 or 200. It's a bit like a German car, right? They're great. You can do 250 kilometers an hour with your German car, but the speed limit is 120, and you're never going to pass that.
No. In Germany, we have no speed limits on the highway.
Okay.
So you can drive. Actually, you can drive 250 kilometers if you are crazy.
Okay.
And there are people out there.
Okay, bad example for German.
Yeah,
okay.
but
I'll need to find another one.
Yeah.
But you get the picture. But of course, one of the most important things about all these features like ODX and Unmap, and actually a lot more important than the extreme speeds you might be able to get from a system, is that they actually work.
Yeah, of course.
In production.
Yeah.
And don't cause issues. And that's my biggest concern whenever I'm buying storage. Make sure that your SAN actually can use all these advanced features without crashing your system and messing up your day.
We heard a lot of things about that, yeah.
Yes, and I've been extremely lucky with my SAN that I don't have those issues.
Yeah.
I have Unmap working, I have ODX working, I have a very functional hardware VSS provider. So all these things together have protected me from a lot of heartaches that some of my colleagues have run into.
Yeah.
So it might not be the absolute most fastest SAN in the world, but for its money and the fact that it works, I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, and we both have to disclose that we both are very fond of Dell. We both are rock stars now. Do you know that?
Oh yes. I know that. I know that.
What a great title, Dell. How it's called? Dell Taters Tech Center Rockstar. So the MVP award, it's not so shining the name, I think, like Rockstar, isn't it? But most valuable professional is also not so bad, huh?
Oh yes, it's great to be one. It's great to be one.
But 100% with you.
All fun aside, and whether I'm a Dell Rockstar or not, I firmly believe in using commodity hardware and pushing it to the limits.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I have always found is that the high performance gear is very, very expensive, and that's one issue. And the other issue is technology evolves very fast. So I shy away from buying performance hardware just in case I might need it within 2 or 3 years, because I'm better off buying cheaper hardware and replacing it after 3 or 4 years, because the technology evolves so fast. It's very hard to buy a SAN now and say, I'll buy one and keep it around for 7 or 8 years, because chances are...
that's not a good idea. The technology is very fast evolving, and also the prices are going down. And I think in one of our next Hyper-V Amigo episodes, we will look at storage spaces, and I have to tell a lot about that. And I have even a nice Dell JBot here. So we will look in some JBot things, but now let's do a little bit more of your great performance things there.
Yeah,
huh?
okay. Hang on. So we go back to the virtual machine. We've deleted the data. We've seen the retrim in action. We've seen the space we have reclaimed on the SAN.
But only the space in the VHDX.
On the SAN, yeah. But look here.
Yeah.
What do we have here?
Oh,
it's
not in the VHDX, yeah.
No, not yet. The only time you're going to reclaim space here is when you shut down the virtual machine. Now you might say
there's a little bit of drawback, because there are some virtual machines that have to run all the time, huh?
Yes, but every virtual machine has to
be
get
patched. Yeah, you're right.
So they'll be rebooted probably at least once a month.
Or maybe once a half a year.
Yes, it depends on your environment. I would advise you to patch them a bit more.
Yeah.
And I would also advise people not to focus on the instant gratification of having each and every gigabyte you delete reflected in a shrinking of the VHDX file size, because that's micromanagement, and you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there. You just want to let the system run and do its magic for you and have your storage optimized that way. But don't try to micromanage it. You're going to get a headache. You're going to get depressed, because every time somebody deletes a file, you want to see it reflected. No. That's not the way to do it.
But what do you want to show now?
I'm going to shut down the virtual machine, of course.
Okay.
And I want you to take a look here.
On the loon. On the green.
Hey, look at this. It's shut down.
It's gone.
And the data, the size of the VHDX has been resized to, well, it's minimal, the minimal you had to format one with the file system.
Yeah.
But with the VHD, nothing is happening.
Yeah.
That has a reason. That reason is, of course, it's not a VHDX.
There's no Unmap support.
Yeah. There are so many good reasons to move to VHDX, and this is just one of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I know.
you might consider doing that. Now, let's start this virtual machine up again. That's not going to take too long, even if it's still a Generation 1 virtual machine.
Don't open the box of Pandora. Maybe in another episode. We can't do everything in one episode. So
no. But we'll do lots more. But let's have some more fun, because basically I like doing labs and figuring things out. So what else did we do? Now I created a VHD and a VHDX, and on those two I created 2 volumes.
Okay.
So volume 1, volume 2 on the VHD disk, and volume 1 and volume 2 on the same VHDX. So we have some more scripts to play with that, because that's also a very nice one to show. So open a new window, go to my demo scripts. Let's first copy some data into the VHD, and we'll copy it into the first volume. Do we have a script for that? Yes, it's over here. Okay, let's do it. There we go. Okay, there we go again. It's a dynamically expanding VHD. So you have to wait or copy less data. So whilst we're waiting for this slow-mo, we are going to go to our first volume on the VHDX, and now we're going to have a laugh. Ha ha ha. I mean, come on. I mean, I am so done with VHDs, really.
I understand.
And this is just
there are
one of
more advantages of VHDX.
Oh, there was a humongous advantage of going to VHDX. It's all on the slides, and we might discuss some of those things later if we still have time.
No,
but look,
we haven't. No, we will not. Maybe you can put the slides and the reference with the showcast. Would it be okay?
I think it would be okay. I still need to screen them for some other content, perhaps, but we'll see what we'll see what we can do here.
Maybe you do a small slide deck with only three or four slides about the Unmap.
Yes. Well, and the other thing I can say, of course, all the information I'm showing you here, I tend to share on my blog.
Yeah, of course.
If you still needed a reason to read my blog, well, here it is. And in case you think that's my job, playing with this technology all day long, unfortunately, that's only part of it. And a large part of all this experimenting is at night and in the evenings.
Yeah.
So, but okay, you got the message.
We have copied. I will get my handkerchief and.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We told in the beginning it is a nice Sunday evening and we are doing. No.
Okay.
It's an afternoon. Yeah. It's still light outside, so we are doing this stuff here.
I'm just trying to prevent getting 5,000 resumes in my mailbox next Monday because everyone wants to play with this. Yeah. So let's just kill this because we have what we need to prove a point.
Yeah.
So let's look. Let's look here. We see the dynamic VHD size that has 2 volumes. We've copied 5.7 gigabytes in there. And then we have the dynamic VHDX one, and we've copied the full 30 gigs in there because it goes a lot faster.
Yeah.
But now let's go to that volume 1 and delete the data. Okay. Let's go to the volume 1 on the VHDX and also delete the data. Okay. What we are now going to do is run a script, and I want you to keep an eye on this, on these sizes, and on the sizes on the SAN. Right, so now we go to the scripts again. Where are my scripts? Somewhere over here, I hope, still. And we'll do the second volume. Let's do the VHD. And let's do the VH. Okay, they're both running. The one is slow again. But have a look.
Mm-hmm.
This one is growing slowly.
The one is increasing, yeah.
No, it's also dropping and now it's increasing a bit. What you see here is Unmap kicking in for the VHDX, while it's starting to grow again because we're copying data again.
Yeah, but the VHDX is not growing. He's maybe filling the free space.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, great.
Because it's at the volume, it's at the disk level. So even if you have multiple volumes, it kicks in. But of course, with the VHD, it doesn't. And that one keeps growing even if you shift deleted all the data.
Yeah.
So that's what you are seeing here.
Cool.
So that's the demo that we had to do here. So let's stop this one because watching data being copied into a dynamically expanding VHD is not very exciting.
Why not?
Well,
I can do that all night.
Yes.
Okay.
But now,
what else?
Perhaps the last part. Okay, the IDE controller.
Yeah.
Just to prove a point. I know. I'm a fan of Generation 2 virtual machines.
Yeah.
But for everybody out there who thinks like, oh my God, a virtual machine that's not Generation 2. Boots from an IDE controller. Oh my God, compared to a SCSI controller, what were they thinking?
Yeah, what is Microsoft thinking all the time?
Yes, but it's an IDE controller, but don't worry about it. It's a highly performant and it supports a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
So, and of course, we're gonna prove this. So where is my IDE? Okay, here's my script for IDE.
Yeah. No, it's going. What is happening there?
What do you think is happening there?
You told me great stuff. It's a
VHDX. Is great.
It is VHDX attached to IDE. Why is it so slow?
Well, we're going to demonstrate two things here. We're going to demonstrate Unmap behavior.
Yeah.
So the first and foremost point we want to prove here is that Unmap works with an IDE controller.
Okay.
But the second thing you're seeing here, there is something that is not working with an IDE controller. And what might that be?
Oh, that's ODX. Is it?
There we go. Yeah.
But we will show ODX on another show because we are already 40 minutes into this, and we will finish Unmap. Yes, and
We'll just quit this copy.
no.
You see that we
3
we've
gig.
copied 3.10 gigawatt. It's still rising a bit. Did I kill it? Yeah. My. Okay, it's still expanding.
Yeah, a little bit.
It should stop. Okay, so now let's go into that drive and delete those 3 ISO files. Right. There we go. Now let's help a bit. Let's look here. It's 113.78 and it's 3.2. Okay, then we know these numbers. Let's run retrim. And may the demo gods.
Yeah, now you
the
do the
demo-
optimize volume thing.
Yes. So on the SAN we've already reclaimed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But of course, what do we know? What do we need to make it disappear in the VHDX?
All
Shut down the
right,
VM.
shut down the VM.
So
All right.
let's shut down the VM.
But if you now would do the copy again, it will not grow. It will first use the space.
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Yeah, indeed. But as you can see, it's now shrunk to its original size. So even with an IDE, Unmap works. Unfortunately, no ODX.
Yeah, but
So that's what you have to keep in.
I think not all of the people out there have nice LAN systems that support ODX.
Oh well, and most people, of course, they put their data files on SCSI controllers anyway.
Yeah.
It's only for booting in generation 1, and if you're on generation 2,
you have
don't even
only
have to think.
iSCSI. Yeah.
there you
We
go.
have only
That's why it's a
SCSI.
that's why it's a generation 1 virtual machine, because otherwise I couldn't have an IDE controller.
Yeah, right.
But it works quite well, and perhaps I know we don't have the time, perhaps, but I need to address something else. Some people will do this test on their SAN, and they will not see anything happen. They will think this Unmap thing sucks. It doesn't work. What is going on here? I did everything I was supposed to do, and nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Why? Well, there is the thing called snapshots.
Yeah, in the sound system, you mean?
Yes. In the SAN system, and sometimes also on the hypervisor level.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the SAN first. Most SANs that do auto tiering take multiple snapshots a day, or at least one a day, to do the data tiering.
Yeah.
And then you have your data protection mechanisms, and they take snapshots, and you keep those snapshots around. Perhaps your backup software keeps snapshots around. And you might have deleted 50 gigabytes from a LUN, but it's still in the snapshot.
Okay.
You're not going to see it reflected in your space that you are saving on your SAN. So keep the snapshots in mind. I have a blog post with screenshots coming up on that one, but I haven't published it yet.
Okay.
But it's something to keep in mind.
You're
also,
right.
the thing to keep in mind is if you do checkpoints on your virtual machines, you create an AVHDX. Basically, you will see the same behavior. But of course, it's the AVHDX that is going to change in size and not the VHD. So it's the active one, not the snapshots themselves that are changing in size.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do a snapshot and you delete data, well, you're going to keep the data around because you've taken a snapshot. So beware of snapshots and checkpoints.
Yeah.
If you want to test the behavior. Basically, for this little demo, I actually disabled snapshotting on the LAN to make sure we didn't have any interference. But that's just for the demo.
Yeah.
But in real life, you have to realize that any space release or reclamation in your SAN will be dependent on your retention times of your snapshots.
Mm-hmm.
So it will happen, but you will have a certain delay.
Yeah, of course. You don't see it immediately, and even if you do everything right, you don't have the effect and think, oh, Unmap is not working, what's happening here? Yeah.
Yeah, but even without those snapshots on the SAN or whatever, don't, I've said it before, don't get focused on the immediate gratification of seeing every gigabyte reclaimed instantaneously at the storage and at the virtualization layer, right? Consider it an asynchronous process that runs automatically over time and helps optimize the use of your storage.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Didier. Do you know any drawbacks with Unmap? Because there are other technologies we will introduce here. There are some drawbacks. And what's with Unmap? Is it unstable? Did you hear something about?
Or in 2012, you had some issues with stability and performance, and there were a number of hot fixes for that. You had the same issue with the ODX.
Yeah, I heard a lot about ODX. We will address that in another showcast.
Yeah.
But
that's with every technology. Sometimes you have bugs, and they need to be fixed.
Yeah.
But another thing to watch out for is the performance impact. And it depends on what you are doing and where you have to know what you're doing and why, and then you can decide whether you're going to use Unmap or not. And I'll give you an example. I have one here in my slide deck somewhere. Bear with me.
I know you want to show your slide deck. So now you can, the people outside can do a slow-mo to get everything.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Real life example. So we have a backup target. Basically, it's a Windows server attached to a lot of storage, cheap storage. And we run SQL Server backups against those LUNs, and those LUNs are then backupped, blah, blah, blah. So this is the SQL Server, this base backup. And they used to work great while the file server was still on 2008 R2. Then it became a 2012 machine, a 2012 R2 machine. Doesn't matter, basically, but you have Unmap then. That's very important to know. The moment you move to 2012 or higher, Unmap is enabled by default. So still, things for us were going very well with 2012 until a couple of months later, we got the firmware that supported ODX and Unmap, and we upgraded to SAN. And everything was still fine except for 6 a.m. in the morning. 6 a.m. in the morning, the backups failed. It was like, what is going on? So the DBAs were investigating, we were investigating, and we were like, what's changed? Nothing has changed. This is what's happening. And why 6 a.m.? What's so special about 6 a.m.? Are we having somebody booting up a switch or whatever and causing spanning tree issues or whatever? What's happening at 6 a.m.?
And what was happening?
Well, Unmap. So basically,
Unmap was happening.
Yes. Well, basically, what happened is, basically, you run this stored procedure to delete the expired backups.
Yeah.
But that was 600 gigabytes of data, and then Unmap kicks in, and it takes some time. And during that time, some things stall, and you can see it perfectly. This is. This is the backup time, 15 seconds, 9 seconds. The deletion time, 15 seconds, 9 seconds, and then you enable
Unmap.
Holy cow! What's happening here?
1 hour and 23 minutes.
Yeah. So the backup job's timed out.
Okay.
So, of course, this is the classical yo-yo effect that we should have. We read about it. Actually, we knew about it, but we didn't put one and one together.
Yeah, of course.
Until after some troubleshooting on 7 different places, the network, the storage, the drivers, and then suddenly it was like, wait a minute. So what did we do? Well, you have two options to avoid this yo-yo effect. You either disable Unmap on the host. The drawback there is it's for the entire host, so every LUN attached to that host. And actually, we only wanted to delete it for this one. So then what we did is we created a tick provisioned or fully provisioned LUN on the SAN, and then you don't have tin provisioning and the Unmap yo-yo effect.
Okay.
And also, it doesn't matter that you don't have Unmap here, because basically what are you doing on this backup LUN? You are dumping in lots of data, deleting it, and filling it up again. Why would you even bother spending the compute cycles to shrink or recuperate the data? You're going to use it anyway within the same 24 hours. You just keep copying data, deleting it, copying data, deleting it. So in these scenarios, do not use Unmap, because you're going to have a performance hit. And you are doing it senselessly, because why reclaim it? You're going to use it immediately after.
Yeah,
right?
we discussed a little bit about, in episode 1 about using your brain for the things you are doing, huh?
It kind of helps. And my problem is a few seconds every day,
Yeah.
I'm an absolute genius. But unfortunately, during a couple of minutes every day, I'm a bit of a retard. So,
Oh,
so that
I think
balance
you are not a retard.
that balances out a bit, you know.
Okay.
I have my genius moments and I have my less genius
Okay.
moments, and I think this was one of them.
So I think this is a nice closing for our showcast today. You showed
Okay.
Unmap. There were some great demos, I would say. We saw what is doing Unmap with VHDs and VHDXs, and even you showed us with an IDE controller and a VHDX. It's also working, and we saw on IDE. We don't have the ODX feature, but we will do a showcase about that later, not today.
And we've also seen that ODX helps a lot in making expanding a dynamically expanding VHX a lot faster.
Yeah,
And
your
if
copy
you didn't
speeds.
know-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed it. About 600 to
Yeah.
700
So-
megabytes. So it was
Yeah.
nice. The other
ODX
thing I saw was 120, and then it dropped with the IDE to 50 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's normally in a fixed VHD you will have better results,
yeah.
but of course it had to expand as well.
Yeah.
So you lose ODX and you have to do the expansion.
Because on the loon, it was not a fixed loon, and maybe the
Yeah.
loon is expanding.
Well,
Beneath.
you have a thinly provisioned LUN on the SAN.
Yeah, I mean.
You have a dynamically expanding VHDX file,
Yeah.
and you have lost ODX. So all those things contribute to the fact that it's a lot
Yeah. Okay.
less fast.
So I hope our viewers enjoyed this episode of the Hyper-V Amigos. There are more of us, and I think we will see some of them in some feature shows. You out there, you Hyper-V Amigos, you know who we mean, and they are not sitting beneath your table, huh?
They're not beneath the table. I do know that they are probably hitting F5 on your blog to see when the next episode is coming, and I think it will take another episode, and then they will start to warm up to the idea.
Yeah, they will, and we will warm them up.
Yeah. Okay.
This episode we covered Unmap. We have a lot of great things to show, and maybe next time I will show some things, but I promise you I will not be so well prepared than your stuff today.
Okay.
Okay, I would say we will blog about this episode. You will send me the links about the post where you talk more about this Unmap feature, and I will include it in my post, and you, of course, will include them in your post. And I hope we will do another episode maybe in April, late April, because now we have late March, very late March.
We have to do it late April because I
fly to the
I fly to Houston. Yeah.
Oh, we can.
So
do it
if you want to hear me blab away all day long in real life about all this technology, you can always find me at TechEd USA or North America, I should say. And basically, we're like this in real life as well. We just
yes, we are.
Yeah. We are what we are. We don't hide it.
Okay, I would say bye from Germany and Didier.
Okay. And bye-bye from Belgium. And have a good night.
Yes, see you.
Bye.